Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first information session for the Seeds Project. My name is Evan, and I am the current president of the Seeds Project this year. And I'm very excited to be sharing with you a little bit about our organization and the application process that's coming in soon. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this session. And hopefully, you'll learn a little bit more about our mission, what our trips entail, and the next steps in becoming a seedsling this coming spring. So first, I'd like to just give a little outline of what will be covered in this meeting. I'll give a brief introduction to the Seeds Project, our organization, and our history, a little overview of our mission and how that mission interacts with how we conduct our trips. This year's trips, the locations we'll be going to this coming spring, the application process as well, how to apply and what to expect in the coming weeks as the application comes out. And lastly, an opportunity to give questions and ask anything that you might be wondering. So first, a little bit about the Seeds Project and some background behind how we came to be. So our organization actually started all the way back in 2006 when a group of Bonner scholars took a trip to Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina. Originally, these students went there during the relief efforts immediately after the hurricane. However, after a few years of going back to the communities and meeting some of the same partners, the students decided to organize into a organization at the university, and they named themselves the Seeds Project. This is the birth of our organization, and we have been doing trips every spring since then. After a few years, these students also decided that the incredible lessons that they were learning on their trips really needed to be shared with the campus community. And one of the ways that they did that was they started the Seeds Journal. The tradition of writing and producing and releasing a journal goes all the way back to 2010. And in these journals, participants reflect on their experiences, the lessons learned, the partners they've met, and we're able to share what we've learned with the wider community, as well as give it back to our partners to reflect a little bit on our experience there. As we became an organization throughout the years since 2006, we have continually expanded. In 2011, we started a trip to West Virginia, in 2017 to Detroit, and since 2020, we have also had trip locations here locally in Richmond, in Norfolk, Virginia, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and in Charleston, South Carolina. The organization has been getting bigger every year, and our trips have become more established, and we've formed some excellent connections with some amazing community partners throughout the country. Now, all of this growth and development happened surrounding our core mission. And our mission statement is, as it reads, the Seeds Project is a diverse, student run organization that examines the complexities of American society through service, dialogue, and reflection in order to cultivate lives of active citizenship. There's a few things in this statement that I'd like to highlight. First is the diversity of the Seeds Project. One of the things that we greatly pride ourselves with is the diversity of experiences that all of our participants bring to our trips. The University of Richmond campus is wonderfully diverse. However, oftentimes it's hard to connect that diversity, to synthesize it, and to reflect on it. And Seeds has really been throughout its history a way for a diverse group of students to come together, to share their perspectives, learn from each other, and apply that learning mindset to a new location outside of Richmond. Second thing I'd like to highlight is that we are student run. Ever since 2006, we have been not only student organized, but also student led. This means that all the activities, the funding, the planning, all of that is done and organized by students. This is very unique. It's the only student led organization on campus that does alternate spring break trips. Lastly, I'd like to highlight the reflection. Now, Seeds is a little bit different than many other service organizations in that we focus not only on giving back to the communities we interact with, but put a heavy emphasis on reflecting and becoming a better active citizen. We think it's very important that while we're with our community partners, to give our labor or our time or our thoughts to help them in service. However, we also recognize that we have a limited time with them year to year. And some of the most important and impactful activities we can do is learning from them and creating a dialogue surrounding difficult issues, issues that affect communities across the US aren't necessarily talked about in the wider society. By listening and creating this dialogue, we become better active citizens and we return to the University of Richmond campus and can use our own privilege to amplify the voices of communities which are usually under listened to. So now that you know a little bit more about the Seed's history and our mission, I'd like to introduce you to the trips for this year. So this coming spring, during spring break, one of our trips will be going to Morgantown, West Virginia. As I mentioned, we have been going to West Virginia since 2011. It is one of our oldest and most tight-knit partners. The themes for this trip include environmentalism, agriculture, conservation, and public health. West Virginia is an incredibly dynamic and diverse place with a lot of different problems that it's faced over the past few centuries. It has a long history of exploitation by the hands of foresting companies, by the coal and gas industry. And each year it is fantastic to see how participants' perspectives are changed about rural Appalachia and the people who have lived there for hundreds of years. Our second trip this year will be to Charleston, South Carolina. While Charleston is a newer trip that Seeds has been going on, we have formed some very deep connections with community partners in this city. And it has continued Seed's long lasting goal to connect with coastal communities, in particular with disenfranchised and underserved communities in those regions. Last year was our first time in Charleston, South Carolina, and we connected with an abundance of partners surrounding coastal erosion, conservation, urbanization, gentrification, and climate change. Especially participants report very much so enjoying connecting with the Gullah Geechee people in Charleston. This is a group who has inhabited the region for hundreds of years and have formed a very unique culture, and a culture that has been increasingly and disproportionately threatened by climate change. We're very excited to be returning to Charleston and expanding our partners here this year. So with that, I would also like to give a little bit of information about our application. Yes, Seeds does have an application. Unfortunately, since we have a limited number of spots, we ask that everyone who applies fills out an application so we can get a sense of what you'd like to get out of the experience, and we can help limit down the pool. We would love to take everybody on the university campus at some point during their academic career on a trip. However, due to logistics, that isn't possible every year. So this application usually consists of just some short essays, and the application will be coming out in October 1st, which is just in a few days. You can keep an eye on SpiderBites, where a link will be posted, as well as if you are a part of our email list, we'll be sending out an email with a link to the application. This application is reviewed by a leadership team of 9 people, all students, and it is done blind. Your name, your demographics, everything about you is removed from the application while leadership are making their decisions. We plan to have decisions out before December, before winter break, and this will give some advanced warning to participants, whether if they want to plan something else for spring break or whether they want to know that they'll be going on a Seeds trip soon. I do want to emphasize that filling out an application and sending it in is in no way a commitment to attend. Once decisions are released, we'll meet with those who have been accepted onto a trip so they can learn a little bit more about Seeds, a little bit more about the trip, as well as expectations on the trip. At any point, participants can back out of this process. And I highly encourage you to, even if you're hesitant about joining Seeds, to send in an application, as later, once the application closes, that will no longer be a possibility. That is all that I have for you today. If you have any questions, please reach out to myself, Evan Wolf. My email is evanwolf@richmond.edu. Or if you're part of the email list, there should be links to some additional resources. You can also find us on Instagram, on Facebook, and our website, which has a little bit more information. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. We would love to talk to you more. And if you would like even more information or another chance to ask questions, you can attend our second information session, which will be October 3rd, a Tuesday at 5 p.m. in THC. More information about that will also be coming out over SpiderBites and over email. Thank you all for listening so much, and I hope to see your applications soon as we begin the Seeds journey this year.